Right now, people from across the world are waking up from an artificial life created by an elite group who wants power, allegiance, and control. This awakened few are also a part of an elite group, a group of people that will stand fast for truth, not scared of the consequences, but scared of the consequences of being silent. What are the consequences of being silent about the biggest heist in history? Stolen freedom. The freedom to worship any god you want, or no god at all. The freedom of speech. The freedom of press. And the freedom to assemble. Now there are movements that claim to be for freedom, and claim to be anti-New World Order, anti-big bankers, Freemasons, and even anti-Illuminati. These movements, while claiming to have the truth, are still a part of that which we are fighting against. They are being used to keep your attention on these, while the real threats to our freedom are being established in the background. An example of the propaganda of the New World Order is a movie called Zeitgeist. Zeitgeist was a film that teaches a little bit of truth and at the same time secretly pushing another agenda. The Zeitgeist movie consists of 3 parts. The first time I saw the movie on YouTube, I only saw part 2 and 3, which tells you the real story about the Federal Reserve and that 9/11 was an inside job. I had a big interest in these 2 subjects, but I was very disappointed after finding out the truth about the agenda of Zeitgeist. By examining this video in detail, not only will we find out the true intentions of Zeitgeist, but also the true intentions of the New World Order, and find out who the real threat to our freedoms are. To find out the truth, we need to start at the beginning of Zeitgeist. In part 1, Peter is teaching how Christianity is being borrowed from another religion, and that Jesus represents a son.
Probably the most obvious of all the astrological symbolism around Jesus regards the 12 disciples. They are simply the 12 constellations of the zodiac, which Jesus, being the sun, travels about with.
He also teaches that Jesus was the age of Pisces, and that Jesus will be pushed aside at the age of Aquarius.
In order to understand this, we need to be familiar with a phenomenon known as the precession of the equinoxes. The ancient Egyptians, along with cultures long before them, recognized that approximately every 2150 years the sunrise on the morning of the spring equinox would occur in a different sign of the zodiac. This has to do with a slow angular wobble that the Earth maintains as it rotates on its axis. It is called a precession because the constellations go backwards rather than through the normal yearly cycle. The amount of time it takes for the precession to go through all 12 signs is roughly 25,765 years. This is also called the Great Year, and ancient societies were very aware of this, and they referred to each 2150-year period as an age. From 4300 BC to 2150 BC, it was the age of Taurus, the bull. From 2150 BC to 1 AD, it was the age of Aries, the ram. And from 1 AD to 2150 AD, it is the age of Pisces, the age we are still in to this day. And in and around 2150, we will enter the new age, the age of Aquarius.
So where did he get this philosophy from? The answer is in the transcripts to the movie, which he posted on his website. Some of the names that Peter appealed to: Albert Churchward, who's a Freemason; a New Ager, Acheria S., Maxwell Tice, who is also a New Ager, Gerald Macy, Edward Carpenter, Manly P. Hall, who was a Freemason, Higgins Godfrey, who was a Druid and associated with Helena Blavatsky, and Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. The names I have just mentioned are all a part of a huge network, a network that is linked like a spider's web. We may never find out everyone that's in this network, but we have enough information to find out who's at the center of the hierarchy. But I'm not going to tell you who he is. I'm going to let his puppets tell you. As I looked at these names, I realized that most of these people were Freemasons and New Agers. And as we go further in the documentary, you will begin to notice that these groups are against the Bible, except for one story in the Bible.
Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" The woman said to the serpent, "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, 'You must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die.'" "You will not surely die," the serpent said to the woman, "for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food, and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened.
What do secret societies in the New Age teach? That it was Lucifer who illuminated or opened the eyes of Adam and Eve and made them wise and made them gods. One prominent person in the Zeitgeist list is Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. Madame Blavatsky stands out as a fountainhead of modern occult thought and was the originator or the popularizer of many of the ideas and terms which have a century later been established within the New Age movement. The Theosophical Society, which she co-founded, has been the major advocate of occult philosophy in the West, and the single most important avenue of Eastern teachings to the West. In 1890, Madame Blavatsky handed over her teachings to another prominent New Ager by the name of Annie Besant. In 1902, Annie Besant established the International Order of Co-Freemasonry in England, and over the next few years established lodges in many parts of the British Empire. Both Annie Besant and Helena Blavatsky's theosophical writings were translated and published in Germany. An 1892 periodical, Lotus Blossom, featured Blavatsky's writings and was the first publication to sport the theosophical swastika on the cover. Another woman influenced by Madame Blavatsky was Alice A. Bailey, writer and lecturer of Neo-Theosophy. She was born in England in 1880 as Alice Petrov Bailey. She moved to America in 1907, where she spent the rest of her life. She was a high priestess and prophetess of the New Age movement. She was a prolific author on occultism and founded the International Esoteric Movement. Sir John Sinclair, a 32-degree Freemason, gives a commentary on the seminal influence on Alice A. Bailey, which he says underlines the conscious growth movement in the 20th century. Now, what do these women and Acharia S., which was Peter's main source for the film, have in common? They all teach of a coming age, a new age. the New Age, and Masonry are waiting for a new era in which to build a perfect society like Atlantis.
Man's quest to control his own destiny and to worship a God that would give him freedom to define his own values and moral parameters was the central desire in his pursuit to bring all other humanity under his control and establish a new global order. Those throughout history who sought to implement this plan would stop at nothing, be it through deception or brute force, to realize their dream. A dream to rebuild the mythical city of Atlantis described by Plato 2,500 years ago and believed by many to have existed in the antediluvian world. And along with this, to re-establish the principles that guided that society. The question will no doubt be asked: who, what, and if anything, is involved in the pursuit of this apparently far-fetched occult agenda today? If such a mystical concept as a perfect Atlantean society is in fact believed in and being implemented, then who are the players and what powers, human or otherwise, might these players have at their disposal? Indeed, can history, the Bible, and the unfolding of present-day events really confirm the veracity of such an agenda? There are those who believe that this is not only possible, but that there is overwhelming evidence to establish it as fact.
"400 years ago, Bacon, like many of his contemporaries, believed that Atlantis was America itself.
He was trying to lay a foundation for what could be accomplished in the New World. Bacon was the head of Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism.
He had a huge influence through being the chief of the Rosicrucian fraternity at the time. He had a huge influence on the birth of modern Freemasonry. And many of those Rosicrucians actually went into Freemasonry at that time to lift it up to its new level. And Freemasonry has a major influence on the founding of America.
The president talks about how we want to bring democracy to all these countries of the world. Well, why doesn't he want to bring a republic to these countries? We were a republic. We were never a democracy. It is only the people from the mystery religions and the secret societies who are pushing this idea of world democracy, or this combination of enlightened nations, enlightened democracies to rule the world. As incredible as it may seem, there are really people who believe that. They're working full-time to accomplish that goal. And until you understand that they are the primary force behind the wars of this last century and World War III, which we are entering into today, unless they understand that the whole idea is to create this reestablishment of what they would believe is lost Atlantis.
When our founders declared a new order of the ages, they were acting on an ancient hope that is meant to be fulfilled.
How was Alice A. Bailey preparing men's minds and hearts? She founded a publishing company by the name of Lucifer Trust, and then changed it to Lucis Trust. She also started a group called World Goodwill, an official non-government organization within the United Nations. The stated aim of this group is to cooperate in the preparation for the reappearance of the Christ. Alice A. Bailey claims that this Christ speaks to her. Now this Christ has many names: the Tibetan, the Maitreya, Dwayal Kul, Inman Mahdi, and here is the Christ speaking to Alice Bailey. Who's helping Alice Bailey in the appearance of the Christ? How are they going to prepare the world for this coming Christ? First, they need to teach the world, either openly or secretly, on the New Age teachings and occultism. Second, they need to unite government and all religions into one governing order. Third, there needs to be a population decrease. And as they decrease the population, they will also get rid of the old system of Christianity. How will they achieve this? By getting rid of the Bible-believing Christian. Now I'm going to show you one of the ways they will educate. Propaganda. Could it be that Zeitgeist is pushing the agenda of Blavatsky and Bailey, who has a direct link to the United Nations? We have already seen his link to these occult women, and to my amazement, he also has ties to the United Nations. Peter Joseph appealed to an organization by the name of UNESCO. What is UNESCO? As you can see, birds of a feather flock together. Now there is a school that educates openly, unlike Zeitgeist, which conceals its true intentions. That is the Robert Mueller School. The first Robert Mueller School started in Arlington, Texas in 1979 to implement Mueller's World Core curriculum. Who is Robert Mueller? Robert Mueller is a former Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations and the Chancellor of the United Nations University for Peace and the Chairperson of the Peace Party 2000. What is the World Core curriculum? It's being used to steer our children towards global citizenship, Earth-centered beliefs, socialist values, and a collective mindset, which is becoming a requirement for the 21st century workforce. In other words, the World Core curriculum will remove from the minds of men, women, and children their individualism. Now, if we go to the UN website, we can get a glimpse of what to expect in the future. These are the schools that are under the World Core curriculum. The Shaman Institute, Living Essence, Seed, Magical Blend, Association for Humanistic Psychology, Open Mind Academy, Institute of Nautic Science, and the list goes on and on and on. So tell me, Robert Mueller, what is the philosophy of your schools? The underlying philosophy upon which the Robert Mueller School is based will be found in the teachings set forth in the books of Alice A. Bailey. The school is now certified as a United Nations associated school, providing education for international cooperation and peace. now why the New Age hates Christianity? It's because the Bible teaches to be separated. Right now, you're probably asking yourself, isn't there Christian groups within the United Nations? And the answer is yes. My religion, right or wrong, and my nation, right or wrong, must be abandoned forever in the planetary age. The form of the church of the New Age will remain the same. Thus, churchgoers are less likely to notice that there has been a change in the message. He says, the new spirituality does not reject the earlier patterns of the great universal religions. Priest and church will not disappear. They will not be forced out of existence in the New Age. They will be absorbed in the existence of the New Age. Right now, I'm going to show you how the Christian churches have already been absorbed into the New Age movement without anyone knowing it. To see who these daughters are, and to see who the problem children are, we need to go to the mother. How is the Catholic Church going to gather her children? Now before I show you If the ecumenical movement has worked on the churches, I first want to show you the churches that believed that the Pope was the Antichrist.